Hello everyone. My name is Art Russell. Welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm going to offer some information that points to our true nature, which I'm suggesting is I am or consciousness itself. Now, why am I doing this? Because when we identify with the perspective of the person, which is conceptual only, we unintentionally invite suffering. The perspective of the person is based in competitiveness and fear. But when we realize or recognize the dimension of the infinite within us, we know that there's nothing to fear. I'm going to begin with two quotes from Rumi, the great Sufi mystic and poet. Here's the first. I searched for God and found only myself. I searched for myself and found only God. And the second, you are not a drop in the ocean. You are the entire ocean in a drop. Now, many of us may be familiar with three terms that are used to describe the infinite. We've heard that the infinite is omniscient, so all-knowing, omnipotent, so all-powerful, and omnipresent, meaning present everywhere. Or in other words, there's nowhere that the infinite is not. Now, logically, that must include us. It would be blasphemous, in fact, to state that we believe that we exist as discrete objects called persons outside of God. I'd also like to offer a passage from the Gospel of Thomas, which is comprised of 114 sayings attributed to Jesus. Here's saying 3. When you come to know yourselves, then you will become known, and you will understand that you are children of the living Father. But if you will not know yourselves, then you live in poverty, and you are that poverty. Now, I'd like to make a point about the term poverty. I'm interpreting that to mean ignorance or being unaware of our true nature. There are many beings, many persons who may appear rich in materials or money or health, but still have a sense of longing, of missing something within. I'd also like to offer the following from a book entitled The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, who, as many of you may be aware, is a well-known spiritual teacher who wakened suddenly to his true self at the age of 29. Here it is. It's from chapter 1. A beggar had been sitting by the road for over 30 years. One day a stranger walked by. "Spare some change," mumbled the beggar, mechanically holding out his old baseball cap. "I have nothing to give you," said the stranger. Then he asked, "What's that you're sitting on?" "Nothing," replied the beggar, "just an old box." I've been sitting on it for as long as I can remember." "Ever looked inside?" asked the stranger. "No," said the beggar. "What's the point? There's nothing in there." "Have a look inside," insisted the stranger. The beggar managed to pry open the lid. With astonishment, disbelief, and elation, he saw that the box was filled with gold. I am that stranger who has nothing to give you, and who is telling you to look inside. Not inside any box, as in the parable, but somewhere even closer, inside yourself. Now, as you can tell, Eckhart Tolle is advising us, wisely I would agree, to take a deep look within ourselves and discover that deeper dimension of true self. In support of this information, I'd like to offer the following verse from Philippians chapter 2, verse 5. "Let this mind be in you, which was also in Christ Jesus, who, being in the form of God, thought it not robbery to be equal with God. I and the Father are one." He's stating, or I'm interpreting this to mean consciousness. Now, when we function from the perspective of the person, that's known as functioning from the carnal mind, or the flesh and bone mind. But when we process life from the divine mind, which is higher, so to speak, that perspective of the infinite or absolute, the perspective in which we know that there's nothing to fear and that competition is based in the fear-based perspective of the person. I'd also like to read a couple of paragraphs from a book entitled The Power of Awareness by Neville Goddard. Now, this book is a collection of he wrote many books. He was a Barbadian mystic who moved to the United States and lectured and gave lectures, talks about our true nature and how to manifest more effectively. This is the first chapter in The Power of Awareness, and it's entitled, I Am. The, quote, light is consciousness. Consciousness is one, manifesting in legions of forms or levels of consciousness. There is no one that is not all that is. For consciousness, though expressed in an infinite series of levels, is not divisional. There is no real separation or gap in consciousness. I am cannot be divided. I may conceive myself to be a rich man, a poor man, a beggar man, or a thief, but the center of my being remains the same, regardless of the concept I hold of myself. At the center of manifestation, there is only one I am, manifesting in legions of forms or concepts of itself, and I am that I am. I am is the self-definition of the absolute. the foundation on which everything rests. I am is the first cause. I am is the self-definition of God. And that perspective of I am would be prior to our being told that we are a boy or a girl, that we have a specific name, that we're a certain age, a certain culture, a certain nationality, and other definitions that are added to us or that we take on ourselves, such as I am handsome or I'm unattractive, I'm beautiful or I'm not so beautiful, I'm smart or I'm... All those type of definitions belong to the perspective of the person. I am is unconditioned, the infinite, the absolute, prior to conceptual ideas about ourselves. Now, I'd like also to make the point that I hope you realize I'm not telling you or even suggesting to follow my lead or anything that I'm doing or to follow a certain spiritual tradition, because I'm not. I'm just trying to point out that there's a deeper dimension of self within us, and that we don't have to go anywhere to get it. Now, if we feel like going to a synagogue or a church or a mosque or a cathedral or ashrams, sure, follow that if that's what your intuition is telling you is right for you. But as God is omnipresent, we don't have to take one step away from ourselves to discover that dimension within. Now, I'd also like to suggest that a way of turning within, opening that crate that Eckhart Tolle referred to with the case of the beggar, is to turn our attention within. Become still, meditate. Just follow the breath for 5 or 10 minutes each day at a usual time if you can. And you'll soon realize that inner dimension will shine more brightly within. I'd also like to offer something that I began to do a year or two ago, and again, I'm only offering this. And one day I was inspired to pick up some flat stones at a nearby beach. And on the stone I wrote, I am. And I keep that in my pocket, and you could keep it wherever it's handy if this felt right for you. And it reminds me, or I don't really need it as much at all really now, but that there's a deeper dimension of you, the self, the true self, consciousness itself, unconditioned awareness. If you've enjoyed this video or found it useful or helpful, I invite you to share, subscribe, or like. More information is available through my free blog articles at thinktwice.me and also through my book entitled This Taste of Flesh and Bones, available from Amazon. Thank you very much for listening. I look forward to seeing all of you again soon. Bye for now.